Hey, hi, Paul. Good morning. Good. How are you? Last 2 weeks, it was a sort of board meetings at the same time, so I had to miss it. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It was a fairly short one, and you can, I think it was simply, I think it was May and I, and Mark may have joined a little bit late, but yeah, wasn't that big. We talked a little bit about the document that you had started,
Mhm.
um, and what we wanted to do there, and that was it.
Okay. Hey, what I started working some time back. Um, see, even you would have heard in a board meeting or in TSC, I think in board meeting especially, Joe highlighting that AM, and I think even in Smart City Summit, you would have heard AI and ML becoming like one of the important use cases for the DPUs going ahead. I was thinking exactly what sort of AI and ML problems uh, that would make more sense to use DPUs, right? See, for example, GPUs, what kind of AI and ML problems? It's known whenever anything there's an image processing thing is there, you use GPUs, right? Similarly, if for DPUs and IPUs or XPU, whatever we want, what are those AI and ML problems, right? So, for example, if we want to say uh, in networking problems like intrusion detection, security things like traffic classification, intrusion detection. So these are like directly we can tell because they can run on a single node and they can still be useful kind of
Correct.
problems. So AI and ML problems that is relevant with the DPUs and IPUs. So this article kind of a thing, even it's like a blog on the website kind of a thing, I think will be useful. What do you say?
So, yeah, I mean, it would definitely hit the buzzwords, and get us some notice there. I don't know what the AI and ML use cases that we ought to focus on should be. I know that I know that at the SmartNIC Summit, they talked about how they wanted to focus they thought maybe they should focus next year's summit on AI and ML. And we didn't, I didn't see what they were doing there other than just trying to, follow the buzzwords. Hey, Joe.
Yeah. So I
Hey,
want to start answering that question. I mean, so kickstart the work if anybody is not working on that because that is my research area. In my free time, that's what I do as part of my research activity.
Okay. So, Joe, that we were talking about how at the SmartNIC Summit and a few other places, AI and ML has come up as a possible use case for DPUs, and wondering what we think of that. Do you have a thought?
I do, but I don't know how much. I have to think about what's generally known. So NVIDIA talked about it at the SmartNIC Summit some, and they alluded to fabric optimizations, network optimizations, and alluded to possibly other things. And I forget whether Intel mentioned it as well. I don't know if you remember whether Intel mentioned it, but NVIDIA did it explicitly, right? Because they had a whole session on it.
Right.
So um, but I don't know, what I don't remember off the top of my head is how much detail they went into.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much I can say.
Got it. Totally understand that.
So that's, but yeah, there is a use case there. And what we've talked about, one of the things that we've brought up publicly before, and this would, this was the details of how you might do it. We didn't discuss. We discussed the idea of what the idea, which is you could virtualize GPUs, and that was, we did that in the STIA DPU presentations we did. And that's the idea that you take, if you have a cluster of GPUs, you can use the DPU to virtualize it and make it multi-tenant. And then you and do all the work for maintaining the network connections and maintaining the authentication and multi-tenancy. You do all that on the DPU, which has a bit more horsepower and is a more friendly environment for general purpose computing. And you can then do it on sort of, you could share your GPUs transparently, right? Because the DPU can pretend to be a remote GPU, or it can, just like it can pretend to be a remote disk, right?
Right.
Even if that disk is really a volume across several disks, can present a single disk. Same thing with GPU. I could present pipelines to someone, and then if I had a bunch of servers, each with one GPU, but they don't all use them all the time, and so the load varies. I can make more efficient use. So we talked about that one in public. I have a slide that's public where we talked about that one. The network stuff, I say, I forget how much was said, but again, that was alluded to, that you can optimize the network transport, and and that could be, whether that could be done in common, I don't know. But anyway, that was another piece. And then there are a couple of obvious, the next obvious question to ask is, are there any common pieces, or are there any pieces that would be valuable to do in common, where you specify how the DPU and GPU directly interact?
Got it.
Okay, so that's sort of the scope of what you could do for AI/ML with DPUs.
Got it.
Okay.
Good. Sridhar, was that helpful for what you're thinking of?
Yeah, see, those are all still at the higher level. So what I want to do basically is see for example, what Joe was explaining when it comes to managing the DPUs also, right? Similar to how the GPUs are managed through Kubernetes. Kubernetes also offer you now the very stable support. Just like any other resources, you can manage the GPUs also. You can assign it to a pod or anything, and you can manage it like that, right? But I'm not sure whether we are there for the DPUs yet. But I think for GPUs, surely we have that Kubernetes doing that job. But when it comes to the networking optimization, I was looking a lot at it. But the data that is required for optimization would need for on a multi-node level kind of a thing. Whereas the DPUs, the AI problems or ML problems that you want to run on these DPUs typically may have to focus on the single node thing. For example, intrusion detections and what I was saying, or traffic classification, even the classification kind of a thing. So these kind of problems,
So are you talking about using DPUs to do AI/ML, or using DPUs to make your AI ML installation run better? And are you talking about training, the training part, where I include cluster finding and it's not just artificial neural network gradient descents. It's a whole bunch of algorithms that all involve processing the data. So you're talking about having it, optimized for systems that are doing that with GPUs, or are you talking about AI/ML on the DPU itself? Because if I'm going to do model deployment and model evaluation on the DPU, then that's a different that's a slightly different topic.
I'm talking about the latter one. For example, if you have a trained model for IDS kind of a thing, can we run it on the DPU from the resource point of view, those kind of a thing?
Well, I mean, you have ARM cores, so of course you can run it on the DPU. The question is, how much work can you do on the DPU? And if there are devices that are hybrid devices, then of course, you could do more with the hybrid devices. But I mean, I have ARM cores, or I have possibly a programmable pipeline, and model evaluation is a lot more computationally friendly.
So, I mean, there are some, in my understanding, there are some gaps. I want to first fill these gaps, and then I'll be in a better position to present it, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we should somehow continue this discussion. It's a very, very interesting topic everywhere, right? Even LFN would want to push more and work with the LF data and AI. There is a separate group called LF AI and data, where they are so they want to start a separate work around this within LFN, and we want to I want to say, hey, we want to bring in OPI also project there as part of that, and see how people in that group want to take advantage of DPUs there, kind of thing. So in that context, I have to complete some studies, and then we will see, maybe by August or September, we will be in a better position to go with something concrete there.
Okay. If we're done with that, the only other topic I had that was on my list was the white paper again, and was going to ask all of those who show up to the outreach committee meeting who wanted to put time in there and do some work. I've not had any time. I've been heads down on a project for day job, so I haven't had time to put into there into writing on that paper. But it doesn't look like we've got other outreach committee members here. Has anybody taken?
So what? Based on the TSC call, do you have any revision on the white paper? Any additional thought?
So the only additional thought I have is I took Boris's suggestion. I went to GitHub and took what was in GitHub and pasted it in the paper, and it makes for a very clunky white paper. And I don't think it's as updated as, I don't think it's the latest and greatest of what we've been working on and what we've accomplished. I could be wrong, but just wondering if folks had a thought there, a better way to get the information, or if we just want to take that information and then find someone who can make it prose instead of bullet points.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I guess up to date depends on how much detail you want to go into, right? What's
Right.
there is not wrong as such, but I agree it doesn't flow as well as it might. But typically that kind of documentation to make it flow, as you probably well know, Paul, takes a fair amount of work to think through, because you have to write and rewrite and whatnot. And finding people who are also good writers, as well as good architects and coders and protocol designers is very challenging. But I don't know that we have anyone who has both the time and knowledge and is a good writer. I think that's the problem we're running into, is just finding that mix of skills is tough.
Yes.
But then they also, and again, we have people who could probably do it, but they've got 10 other things to do.
Yep.
And I agree with you about what's there. I think the information there is fine, but it is a little, I agree, it is clunky. I've read it and I thought about this one before, and I'm like, close enough. It's a good place to get started. But if we're trying to get a polished white paper out, then that's a problem. Ooh, okay, we got to think about this. I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay.
But I do see the problem.
Good enough. Any other?
If there are any section that is open, and if there are no contributors, let me know.
Why is that?
No, in that white paper, if any sections are open, I can work on that section.
Oh, okay.
I mean, what you could do is you could take what's already written and see what you think about it.
Yeah. See what you think about what I put in that document so far.
Okay. I didn't check. Yeah, let me do that. Definitely.
Yeah. So yes, that's what I've done, is just taken stuff from the GitHub for one or two of the sections and pasted them into the document. But it's bullets and stuff like that. It's not prose, so it needs to be converted to, a.
Correct. Yeah. I can do that. So I think I don't want to use the phrase, but we have to kind of dumb it down sometimes.
Yes.
For this case, and we cannot the same way. Yeah. Let me give it a shot. So which I will go through that section. Which section have you added on the
API? I think is the section I added.
Oh, good. I'll do that.
Cool. I don't have anything else that is outreach. Any update on the lab? Did that LF decide to go ahead and sign that, and have they done it again?
In our culture, we have this saying, like balancing on a balancing scale, putting these frogs kind of a thing to balance it.
Yeah.
If you balance one side, the other frogs from the other side will jump out, kind of thing. So I'm kind of struggling both this LF and Hurricane. So now the current status is LF is like complaining, how do we manage all the future service records, service orders, and in every service order we have to ensure that they mention that that line, that section is removed from the agreement. So, and I told let's first go ahead with this thing, and I will keep a record of it and keep it in a proper place and share it with all the members, so that we don't lose this. In the service order, there is a mention of that a section is removed from the agreement.
Okay.
So then, okay, then let's sign these two documents together. Now the signatures have started happening from the LF side.
Okay, good.
I think until yesterday, they were completing finance was completing something like around month-end job, it seems. So they were busy until yesterday. So today they have promised me to sign from the finance side. Then the projects will sign. Then maybe tomorrow it will go to that Hurricane, hopefully.
Okay, good.
But again, considering all these, I have kind of I cannot promise it, but I'm just hoping it.
Yep, I got it. Makes sense. That's all I had. Joe, did you have anything else, or were you were coming to talk about the white paper, I think?
No, I mean, wasn't coming specifically to talk about the white paper
Oh.
or DPU AI ML. I was just joining because I didn't have a conflict.
Got it.
But I'm happy to contribute where needed. But so no, I don't have any other topics.
Okay.
Well, one minor one. I think the use case description in the white paper could be useful because we don't otherwise have use case documentation that's very good.
Okay.
The problem is, well, so I don't know if it's a problem or not, but I would lean into a little bit and see what he can do for that. Even if he writes something short, it's better than nothing. And so lean into a little bit and see what he can do.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Talk to you later, Joe. See you, Sridhar. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day, folks.